They can't hear what they don't understand. How do you navigate the pain of being misunderstood, whether you're an adoptee, a birth mother, an adoptive parent, or somebody in a broken family relationship? This journey can feel isolating. If you have this in the midst of being able to communicate with a special loved one in the way that you hope, these moments can feel isolating. This space honors all paths of connection, healing, and family, grounding ourselves in sacred teachings as we are anchored in ancient roots, ready to rise from the soil of our past. I'm Irene Stupski, here to guide you through stories, insights, and spiritual practices that will help you heal and rediscover your true belonging. Welcome to Angels, Adoption, and Ancestors. But within this isolation lies a spiritual invitation, a call to embrace the gift that only you can uncover. Let's begin today's journey in this opening sacred light circle by rubbing our hands together, gently stirring up the energy within your hand chakras, which is connected straight to your heart chakra, the space in which the soul resides. Breathe deeply as you inhale light, exhale heaviness, and see the light within your soul begin to expand with each breath in. Let this moment ground you as you step into a space of reflection and connection. Today's episode is about a truth that so many of us live, the feeling of being unseen or misunderstood. This isn't just about being different. It's about navigating life with experiences that others can't grasp because they've never walked the same path. There's a story I share in my upcoming book that I vividly recall one of the many days that I've experienced one of those shifting moments. It was a Monday, and I felt a deep sense of urgency. I took a moment to meditate, I said a prayer, and I decided to give it one last try. As I sat down on my computer, I called upon my angels, determined to find any information about my biological family. I remember saying, if I'm supposed to find anything, this is my opportunity, my last chance. After this search is done, I've found nothing, then I know this is how it's supposed to be. And as I returned to Ancestry.com, I found my grandfather's name again, and I sat and I stared at it for what felt like hours. My imagination began running away with the stories, and then suddenly, like magic, it appears. A name that I didn't see before, or maybe I wasn't ready to see it. I had open eyes on this other name, Sandra, daughter to John. And within a couple of hours, I had all the information that I needed. I found her Facebook page, her address, her email, and even her phone number, as I recall. And to add to the unraveling of this secret treasure trove, I realized she lives less than a mile away from me. This is no coincidence. As I scrolled through her Facebook photos, I came across her wedding picture from when she was in her 20s. It was like staring into a mirror. I was looking at myself for the first time in 50 years. In that instant, my energy shifted and my life was forever changed in a mystical way. It felt like an out-of-body experience. There was no doubt in my mind I had found my birth mother, my natural mother, my first mother, my biological mother, whatever term you prefer. The realization was the same. As my weird sense of humor steps in to soothe the moment, I recalled a childhood book, Are You My Mother by P.D. Eastman, giving myself a break in the tension as I sit here reflecting on that moment. I can still feel the waves of emotion rushing over me as if it happened just like yesterday. The truth is, I was terrified. The magnitude of what I had uncovered left me feeling both excited and utterly vulnerable. I didn't know what this discovery meant or what I was supposed to do next. My heart raced with uncertainty, and the weight of the unknown felt almost paralyzing. The fear of what this new reality could bring was overwhelming. In the midst of this emotional storm, I remember sending screenshots of her picture to my husband and the kids, my hands trembling as I shared this revelation with them, not knowing what they were going to think. Their immediate responses echoed my own disbelief. Holy shit, it's like looking at you. Those words hit me hard. It was both validating and terrifying to see my reflection in the photos of a woman I had never known, yet who was so deeply connected to me. The intensity of that recognition, seeing myself in her, brought up emotions that I wasn't prepared for. It felt like the ground beneath me had shifted, and I was suddenly standing on unsteady footing, trying to grasp what all of this meant for my life, my identity, my future. The days that followed were some of the hardest that I've ever faced. The enormity of what I had uncovered weighed on me like a ton of bricks, and I felt completely lost, drowning in a flood of emotions that I didn't know how to handle. Every morning, I woke up with my heart pounding, my mind spinning with thousands of unanswered questions. I'd throw my hands to my head and I would scream out, I don't know what to do now. Help me. But it wasn't just that. The confusion and being scared and angry, I felt myself muttering, like, what just happened? What the hell am I supposed to do with this? And what did I just do? As moments of regret began to rush over me, the weight was almost too much to bear. It felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff and I was staring into the abyss with no idea how to pull myself back. The fear of what this all meant for my life, the uncertainty of what to do next, it left me completely adrift. I wasn't prepared for these gut-wrenching feelings that hit me like a tidal wave. Well, there was a flicker of excitement, I won't deny that, behind the reveal. I felt like I slammed into a brick wall, a forceful halt before I could even think about moving forward. It wasn't easy. It was not the kind of discovery you just celebrate and you move on from. It was like my whole world had been turned upside down and I wasn't sure how to find solid ground again. Life as I knew it was now vastly different. My husband, he was all wound up with excitement. He was marveling at how cool this moment was. And while I was bound up with the years and years of unknown, not knowing what to expect now. And in this moment, it was fearful and hopeful, a reflection of the duality that life often brings us. Emotions ran rampant as we considered what might or what might not transpire. My heart pounded with a new rhythm of uncertainty, and I never expected to find, but these emotions found me, and I knew it was all in divine timing. I sensed the next great shift of awakening was unfolding, and while I knew it was a part of the journey, it felt very bumpy and extremely unsettling. Yet we spoke about the pain and the discomfort through challenges and how they're powerful teachers. There are reminders that even in our darkest moments, there is sacredness. There is a path to transformation if and when we choose to see it. My husband hadn't walked in my shoes. He hadn't lived the invisible grief of longing for a connection that felt so vital yet so elusive. Of course he would be excited for me. And I didn't want to play the pity party, so I didn't try to explain because I knew what their response would be. This is the reality for many adoptees and for birth mothers who have had to relinquish a child. The world often doesn't see the love and grief they carry every single day. It's invisible to most, but it's a part of their soul. And adoptive mothers, they hold a bond that transcends physical birth, one that offers that others might not fully grasp. Each of these experiences is unique, yet they all share a common thread, a depth of love and longing that the outside world often overlooks. Take a moment to breathe in deeply and honor all that you are feeling. Know that it is perfectly natural to experience a wide range of emotions all at the same time. Love, joy, sorrow, confusion. Each emotion is a sacred thread in the intricate tapestry of your life. You may feel overwhelmed by the weight of responsibility or by the heartache that sometimes accompanies your role. Yet within you lies a wellspring of strength, compassion, and resilience. This path, filled with challenges, also offers moments of deep connection and love that transcend the physical and reach into the spiritual realm. Your journey is a testament to the strength and resilience of your human spirit. It shapes not only you, but also influences the emotional and spiritual fabric of your family. And by honoring your journey, you open the door to healing and growth, breaking cycles of pain, and nurturing relationships built on love, respect, and mutual support. You are the divine mother of your soul, and through this journey, you are creating a legacy of love that will endure. Here is your spiritual invitation. The journey of being unseen or misunderstood isn't just a challenge, it's a lesson. It's an invitation to look inward, to discover the divine gift hidden within these experiences. It's one of the hardest truths to accept. No matter how much we explain, no matter how passionately we try to make someone understand our journey, they may never fully grasp it. Why? Because they haven't lived it. Experiences that shape us deeply exist outside the frame of reference for others. This isn't just about knowledge or awareness or caring or love. It's about lived understanding. And without that, there's a limit to what others can comprehend. And then to add to that difficulty, some people not only struggle to understand, but also lack the compassion to acknowledge the depth of your story. This lack of empathy can feel like a second wound, as if the world is saying, your pain doesn't matter because I can't see it. But that's not the case. Why people don't understand? Because they naturally understand only what they've experienced firsthand. If they've never felt the longing of being disconnected from biological roots, the ache of relinquishing a child, or the complexities of adoption and all involved, the abuse that they've endured, the death of a loved one, they simply can't relate to the depth of your emotions. It's not their fault. You cannot hold them accountable for not knowing. You can't make them understand. But I know it doesn't make the gap in understanding any less painful. That need to be heard, and more importantly, to be understood, can be lethal to your human and spiritual psyche. Some people are uncomfortable with vulnerability and pain. They might dismiss your story, not out of malice, but because they don't know how to hold space for it. Their discomfort with their own emotions can create a barrier to truly hearing yours. And they may limit compassion and empathy and require effort, and not everyone is willing or able to put in that effort. Some people lack the tools or the willingness to try, leaving you feeling unheard and invalidated. But here are two things you can do to better understand your reaction to their reaction. Recognize your triggers when someone dismisses or misunderstands your story. Pause in that moment and ask yourself quietly, why is this so painful? Are you seeking validation from them that they can't give themselves? Are their words triggering a deeper wound of rejection or invisibility? By identifying the root of your reaction, you can begin to address the pain at its source rather than focusing on their inability to understand. This self-awareness can be incredibly empowering and healing. It shifts the focus from what they didn't do to how you can nurture yourself. The next way is to practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that Their inability to understand doesn't diminish the value of your experience. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. It's okay that they don't get it. That doesn't make your story any less important. Remember that. You are seen and heard by the light within you. Your journey is valid, always. Self-compassion creates a buffer, protecting you from the sting and dismissal and reminding you that your worth isn't tied to someone else's understanding. It can catch you off guard when it happens, but if you're prepared, you'll know how to respond when this is happening. It's natural to want to defend your story, to explain it again and again and again, or try harder to make them understand, or yell. But this often leads to frustration on your part, and it places the responsibility on you to bridge a gap that they may not be willing to walk or cross over. Instead, try these approaches. Understand their inability to grasp your experience isn't about you, it's about them. You don't need to convince someone who lacks the capacity or willingness to understand. Acceptance doesn't mean condoning their lack of compassion if that's the case. It means freeing yourself from the exhausting cycle of trying to make them see what they can't. You may say something like, I know this is hard to understand if you haven't experienced it, but this is how I'm feeling. Or I don't expect you to fully get it, but I hope you can respect that this is my truth. If their lack of compassion feels harmful, it's okay to protect your energy. You don't have to share your story with someone who isn't willing to listen or to hold space for it. Boundaries are an act of self-respect, not selfishness. And honestly, I would want to stop hitting my head against that same brick wall because the likelihood of it changing is minute. So you might say, I don't feel like this conversation is productive, so let's pause here. This is a vulnerable topic for me, and I need to protect my emotional space. It's tempting to feel that if others don't understand your story is invalid. But the truth is, their understanding isn't required for your journey to be meaningful. The key is to stop expecting validation from outside sources, from those who can't give it to you, and to start finding it within yourself or within groups that can give it to you. So instead of thinking they don't get it, so my story must not matter, think they don't get it because they've never walked my path. And that's okay. My journey holds wisdom meant for me. Carry this whisper with you. Use it as a grounding mantra when the sting of understanding or misunderstanding arises. Let it remind you that your worth isn't tied to their understanding and that the light within you is more than enough to illuminate your path. By recognizing your triggers, practicing self-compassion, and shifting your focus inward, you can transform the pain of being unseen into an opportunity for growth and deeper connection with yourself. While the world may not always understand your story, you can honor it. And that's where true healing begins. There was a moment in my life when I realized that waiting for others to understand me was truly holding me back from being myself. I was trying so hard to explain my feelings, my experiences, my pain, and yet no matter how much I shared, they couldn't truly hear me. It wasn't until I embraced the silence that I found my peace. I realized that the validation I was seeking from others was something that I could only find within myself. And in that space, I found true freedom. My journey wasn't about making others understand. It was about understanding myself from a different perspective. And at the end of each podcast, I offer a soul whisper to you. What is a soul whisper? It's a gentle, intuitive message that comes from the depths of our being and a connection to the divine source, our inner light, and the wisdom we carry within. It's not loud or demanding. Instead, it speaks softly in moments of stillness, guiding us toward clarity, self-discovery, and peace. Why do I do a soul whisper? Because it brings connection to your inner truth. In a world filled with so much noise and external opinions, a soul whisper centers you, reminding you of your own wisdom. It's a moment to tune out the distractions and tune in to what's authentically yours. Sometimes life feels overwhelming and we doubt our path. A soul whisper, she serves as a beacon of light, reassuring you that you are on a sacred journey, even if it's not fully understood by yourself or others. It plants seeds of empowerment by repeating and reflecting on a soul whisper. You awaken a strength within you, transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. The words of a soul whisper help realign your energy, bringing you back to center when you feel scattered, disconnected, or unsure. It serves as a gentle reminder of your soul's purpose. A soul whisper for when you feel misunderstood. I release the need to be understood. My truth is sacred, even if others can't see it. I am enough. This invites you to trust in your unique path and all the wisdom that it holds. It reminds you that validation doesn't need to come from others because the light within you already sees and honors your truth. In the midst of the day and into the night, the soul whispers words of wisdom and insight. If we listen real close in the moments of stillness, you'll hear their voice. So as we close this sacred light circle for today, place your hand on your heart and take a deep breath in and feel the strength within you, the part of you that doesn't need outside validation as you exhale because it knows its own worth. Thank you for walking this path with me today. Remember that your story matters, and if you have one to share, let me know. I'd love to hear it. Even if others can't fully understand it, we can do that together. I'd love for you to share your thoughts or your stories. Leave a review, share this podcast with someone who may need words of inspiration, or connect with me on social media. Let's keep this sacred conversation going. Until next time, may you walk in light and love. And remember, sacred soul, you are home.